Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pint Sports Podcast, episode number 15, I think we're at.
Yeah,
once again, joined by these two lovely gentlemen. How are we going?
Evening. How are you?
Fantastic, and
look, I'm wearing my Cowboys jersey for the first time.
I near on vomited as I walked in the door today. I was like, what are you wearing that filth for?
Well, they're my most hated team for about, 9 years straight, but I tipped them in the Sports Whisperer. And they're just finding a little bit of form, and
going okay.
I'm pretty sure 10 points coming my way.
Well, interesting. This isn't what we've written down here at all, but I was talking about you today, and the fact that Scott Drinkwater is probably going to be a good chance of polling really high in the Dally M's.
Is that who you picked?
Yeah. If not for the suspension at the start of the year,
true.
He'll get a fair few points. He's playing really
You may
well
have seen a modification in the Sports Whisperer
It's on the
rules.
points.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
just
purely
points
points.
based. Okay, yeah.
Doesn't
And what
matter.
about try scorers? Corey Oates still on zero. He's barely playing, and I'm not looking good in that regard. Your team, the Raiders, doing okay-ish. They're kind of there, and they're not.
They're in the top four, but I must admit I'm surprised that they're there.
Okay.
We are too.
Yeah. I think everyone is.
Yeah.
They've had all their buys, which I think has put the competition a little bit out of balance.
Yeah.
So there are other teams that have still got another buy to come. Well, another 7 teams, I suppose. They're going okay.
How you feeling? You feeling like you're finals bound?
I'm nervously optimistic.
Okay,
yes.
I feel the same as a Broncos fan at the top of the table. I'm still got PTSD from last year. I still can't grasp the fact that we might be all right.
I think it's a big game for Canberra. They play the Warriors this week. It is in New Zealand, so I know a lot of teams have struggled to go over there.
Yep.
But if you're a top 4 side that's going to make the finals, it's a sort of game that
the Warriors might be as well.
Well, I think they are.
It's a test for both of them,
absolutely.
really, isn't it?
I think Sean Johnson's a smoky for Dally M, which I wonder if anyone picked him.
And,
Interesting. Let's check the notes.
Can't see him passing Drinkwater. But anyway, it's funny that you say like how nervous you are with the Bronx, even though they have been pretty consistent this year.
Well, they've lost 5 games. That's
which is an excellent. That's a great season with still a bye up their sleeve. Now I'm a Carlton tragic. Everyone knows that, and they've played scintillating the last few weeks, and they knocked off Port Adelaide over the weekend, who were coming first, won 13 straight, and Carlton pumped them.
Yep.
It was like 50 points or something.
50-point win. It was amazing. Them playing so well makes me feel so sick and uncomfortable because I'm just not used to it. And it's weird. Like, they won it. And I'm like,
I'll ask you the same question. Are they finals bound?
Well, they're 2 points out of the 8 now.
Chance.
And they've got games that they should win. And there's some 50-50 games. And if they can take 4 of the last 6 or 5 of the last 6, I think they could scrape in. But
what about...
they'll let me down, I'm pretty sure.
Are there any of those on Snapchat?
No.
We'll pass over that. Family friendly. So we've got... It's Tuesday, the 18th of July, Australian time. Tomorrow night, we've got the 4th Ashes test.
Yep.
Kicking
Manchester.
off. Can you say kicking off?
Yep.
Does that work with... What do you say? How does a cricket game start?
First ball.
First ball. The first ball's tomorrow night. Let's go with that. That sounds good. What are our thoughts, I suppose? We're a week removed from the 3rd test, which obviously Australia lost that one. Another fantastic test match. What are our brief thoughts on that?
You go, Matty. Matty, you go first.
Well, it was a good test match. I don't think Australia actually played that well. There was some times where they performed pretty well. Look at Mitch Marsh's innings in the first innings as an example. I think we can do a lot better. I'm still confident that Australia is going to take this Ashes.
Have we played well yet?
I don't think so. Not at all.
We've played well in stages, but I still don't think we've put together anything close to a complete performance yet.
No, they've played well at times, but not a complete performance. Yes, I'd agree with that.
And you could say that for batting and bowling.
Yes.
Like, there's stints of bowling that have been excellent, and then there's been some really horrible tactics around the bowling, and then same with the batting. Like,
just on that with the bowling, if we recorded this the day after that test match, how are you feeling? Are you kind of going, oh, what a great test match? I was ropeable at the way we bowled on that last day. I ended up watching that whole.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah,
last.
I was ropeable with the last part. So we had them at 6 for 170. So we need 4 wickets. They still needed 70, 80 runs, something like that. And from that period, they seemed to do it very easily.
Yep.
Like that. I mean, make them work for their runs. It just happens so easily. Now, admittedly, Headingley, small ground, get it through the field, it's 4. But, geez, the runs just came very easily considering they were 6 down. That was disappointing, yes. We were very one-dimensional with our plans. I love Paddy Cummins as a captain, but I do think he struggles at times when the game turns against us to come up with something different, I suppose.
Because we spoke about it, off the back of that second test, the short bowling and how much, we didn't like the negativity of it, but it was almost the stupidity of it has actually cost us that game. I think, even back to England's first innings, the knock by wood changed that game completely. Like, we had him on the ropes. Yes, in the first innings. The way, you went, geez, you bowl short to him, he pumps you for 6.
Well, if we
don't keep doing it, he obviously likes it there.
If we roll them out for and have an 80, 90 run lead as opposed to 20 runs, it's a far different game, isn't
mentally
it? We had him in that position. We went to lunch. They came back out after lunch, and in 8 balls, he waxed 24.
What did they have for lunch?
But to be fair to Mark Wood, and he said it in an interview, he knew that they were going to bowl short at him. So he just spent the last 3 weeks in the nets with everything coming at his head and just wasn't trying to defend, wasn't trying to save himself. He was just thinking, I'm going to slap it for 6 until I top edge one and I get out, and I'll just get as many as I can. And in both innings, that's exactly how he played. We've got to be better than that.
It's just a little bit of know-how up top. Like, he was putting himself into position, after 3 balls.
You could see it.
You could see he was not going to be able to play a shot that was pitched up.
How can we see that as punters, the other side of the world? But, okay, sure, you can't see that as a captain, but the coach can see it. Everyone else there can see it. Support staff can see it. Surely one of those 11 players can see it and say, hey, hang on, let's just peel this back a little bit and bowl proper.
The other thing that was probably disappointing was, and I know maybe it wasn't the conditions for it, we've got a young spinner in the side, and he bowled, 3 overs the entire test match. I still think they've got to pick him in the next game, but Cummins just has to throw him the ball. And
I was going to say, Cummins does not have the kahunas to bowl him in a pressure cooker situation, which means he hasn't got confidence in him.
So, but if Nathan Lyon was in the side when we're defending 200, he still would have bowled.
He would have bowled most overs.
Absolutely. He would have bowled 20 overs straight at one end, and we would have just rolled the quicks at the other end. So give him that opportunity. Let him try, because England, the way they bat, they're going to give chances up to him.
And we still had plenty of chances, even in Stokes' innings again. There was enough chances there.
He produced chances in that first innings in that short spell. And I mean, he got out Stokes as well.
He did,
but, prior to that, there was 2 chances went begging. So he's going to produce, especially when we had to bowl the team out. It was never going to come down to a draw. So at least don't give them the same old, like you said, it was just one-dimensional. Let's bring something in a little bit different. So these guys have to at least adjust their batting styles to some degree.
I think also credit to England. There was that first innings we were well and truly on top of them. Stokes clicks into gear when he's batting with the tail.
It's good to watch,
and I mean it's entertaining apart from the fact that it hurts.
As a cricket fan,
I mean that innings was pretty special. He makes 80 in a blink, and the changes that they made, Mark Wood particularly, and I thought Chris Wokes played very well for them as well. He bowled well, and then his runs in the second innings were important. The one change that they made that looked good, but I still don't understand how, was so Moeen Ali got 2 key wickets in our second innings. Steve Smith and Marnus Labuschagne both threw stupid shots. So I think we got off to a decent start, obviously after Warner got out, but we got off to a decent start, and then we end up 4 down at stumps on that game, which made a big difference.
You're never beaten, are you? In cricket, the other team doesn't beat you, you beat yourself.
Well,
there's always enough happens in a game that you can make an excuse for anything.
We haven't batted very well at all this series. Usman's batted well at times. Smith's had the 1 or 2 good innings, and Travis Head's made some good cameo innings. Obviously, Mitch Marsh's innings as well, but well, I mean, I know we're probably all not Warner fans, but it hurts the rest of our batting lineup when he gets out the way he does.
Well, it's just normal now. It has become so normalised that you go, he'll be out soon, and then we'll get into the batting. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of an unusual.
But
feeling
our middle order is effectively top order batsmen because of how quick he's going to get out. It's not a matter of if; it's a matter of when.
But that's true of all batsmen.
But okay, so you look at
that was a big
Batsmen
reason.
will
That
get
was a
out.
big reason why we won the second test.
That's exactly
because
what I was gonna
Warner
say.
actually had a little bit of fight in him.
Yep.
Yep.
He got that.
He got 60
odd.
But he batted until lunch.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, we were one down because you put the mocker on Aussie. Not that we're going to let you forget that. but we
He's
we
turned
weren't
it around.
we were none down until the last ball before lunch.
Yeah.
The whole session. And then all of a sudden, Marnus walks in, batting against a ball that's 20 plus overs old, not 2 overs old. It's just a completely different.
To be fair to Dave, I think I put the Hulsh curse on him because before the test started, there was a lot of guys in our cricket group.
What's that group chat called?
Well,
Cricket guys.
I would have mentioned it. I would have mentioned it last episode, but not this episode.
We're changed, all right? No reason.
And I said, look,
Cricket fellas.
the guys were like, they were after his head, and I said, look, to be fair, he hasn't been terrible this series. He stuck out even when he was getting 20 in the first test. At least he was seeing through. The new ball was well and truly sorted.
Yeah, you'll take 20 any day of the
But
week.
then
won't you?
this
In
game,
England, in English.
this game hurt us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because Marnus was in there. The ball's moving around and all the rest.
And Marnus himself doesn't look to be. I love Marnus, and I think he'll be there for a long time. But I don't think he's in the greatest of touch either. But is that? I don't know why. I don't know whether he tinkers around with his game too much.
But it's not like Marnus hasn't been coming in early for a long time
Oh,
either.
no doubt.
It's not a new thing for him.
And like we talked about at the start of the series, batting in the top order in England is tough, no matter where it is. But yeah,
Unless you've got the name Usman Khawaja.
but what he's done, I read some article which talked about he's faced over 900 balls this series, and the next player's less than half that. Like
Wow.
he's just batted time.
Yeah, Ben Stokes has faced 25 balls, I think, something like that.
and made 600 runs.
It's Test cricket batting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's tough because the English bowling lineup is excellent.
Yes.
And to Uzi's credit, like for someone to be able to concentrate like that, we need someone like that. And England would be twice the team if they had someone like that.
Yeah.
And they had the other guys batting
Because
around.
Crawley's
him.
looked really good at stages, you know what I mean? The way he bats looks technically really, really nice at times, and he really pumps that ball as well, but he just kind of throws
Once again, it's not he hasn't got the concentration of
Yeah.
an Usman Khawaja.
Going back to Warner, I was so disappointed to see him walk off in that second inning smiling. Like, that infuriated
Like everyone wants to
me.
punch him in the face as it is, but for him to do that,
And I know it's not a thing where he's happy or
doing
anything.
that on
it's a
purpose,
nervous.
surely.
I think it's just a kind of thing.
But
of going,
what's the game
How
from it?
bad
I
can
don't
it be?
know.
I don't know, but I think it's just a reaction of going, again, like, what are you going to do? Kind of thing.
doesn't worry me because
Yeah.
the selectors are going to pick me anyway.
Yeah.
Even in the last series when he got out to a broad 7 times or something like that, they were all different dismissals, but those two were exactly the same. You could watch a replay and think it was the same ball.
Yeah.
Not one in the first inning, one in the second. Yeah.
And it's not like Broad's bowling so well that,
Yeah.
he's... Well, of course, you're going to get one with your name on it kind of thing. He's getting a lot of wickets, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but he's not in the form that he was,
So,
8
okay,
years ago kind of thing.
Australia's created this scenario for themselves now, where the selectors have. They've backed him. We're in this situation. We go into this next test match. We need to win one of the 2 next test matches to win the Ashes. Do you pick him? You're a selector.
He hasn't scored a century in 6 years overseas.
He doesn't average over 20 overseas since he came back from his ban.
So this is the difficult thing: is is there someone there that's better that no one's going to be better that has the history to go, hey, I've got a good resume here to kind of go, hey, I'm a good test opener. Like, realistically, our option is Harris, who
Harris is in the squad,
and he hasn't put anything
set the
forward
world on fire
to date that says you will succeed or you will be better than Warner. I guess Renshaw is your other option. Is he still over there at the moment?
He is, yeah.
So,
But if Harris is the next in line, he'd be the one that would play if they go for an out-and-out opener.
yeah.
So
Why Harris, though? I'd go Renshaw.
Well, yeah, but Renshaw, was he? Oh, actually, no, he was. He was playing as an opener for Queensland last season.
And he's got a history as an opener as
Yeah.
well. And he's got the temperament and he's got all of that. But I think it goes back to the fact that Usman has shown that it's, it comes back to your point. We said it before the whole test series, who you're going to pick for your most runs. Openers traditionally don't do well in England.
Because it's hard work.
Aussie has been the exception to the rule overall, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So
I think Matty said that before the first test.
Yeah. Didn't I get that wrong? Hey, I love Usman. I think I remember saying I love Usman, but I don't think he can do it because it's top order batting.
Yeah.
And he's batted
And he had a
900
pretty
balls.
horrendous record over there prior to this series.
Yeah.
So I've skirted around that question of what do we do? I still pick Warner.
Okay. Holsh?
No.
Okay.
I'm not picking him.
No.
Well, who are you picking then?
So, okay.
That's an easy to say, I don't want to pick him. But
There are two scenarios, in my opinion. You pick your best 6 bats and just find a spot for any of them to play. And on the back of Mitch Marsh's innings...
Is Marsh top 6 bats, though?
Well,
he played well, and once again, that's an anomaly for his test career, isn't it?
It is, but off recent form, he's got 100 in England in this series, and we've only had, 2 others, Smith and Usman?
Yep.
Which it was a very good innings, by the way.
I fell asleep twice watching it.
So
I fell asleep the first time. Well, I fell asleep.
brutal.
I fell asleep just as that session began, and woke up when it finished. And then the next day, I went, I've got to watch that. And I fell asleep in front of the couch and missed that whole session again.
I'll tell you how I'd answer the question is that I don't think we can do any worse than what Warner's been doing. So whether we play
Couldn't argue with that.
With Green and Marsh, and I don't know who opens out of that.
Does Labuschagne
Marsh.
open? Does everyone move up?
Marsh, I actually
I'd open with Marsh.
So
Okay.
I will actually throw in that I think Travis Head should open. Now the reason this is going to sound silly. The reason why I think Travis Head should open is the moment he's walked to the crease in every one of his innings this series, they just bowl straight at his head.
Yep.
So let's force him to bowl straight at his head with a new ball. Why not?
Don't you like Travis Head?
I love Travis Head, but he is going to
To
play.
bowl at his head.
That's what they've been doing the whole series. So are they honestly
Wasting the ball.
going to waste a new ball and not try and nick him off and try and hit him in the head like they have the whole time? Okay,
Is it the old adage of why
change? Yeah, I understand that, but are we any worse off than what we are currently?
But it's moving Head from where, Head's done so well where he is.
So whether then it's Marsh, Labuschagne or Cameron Green, one of them for the next 2 test matches, if that's the way we want to go, is better than Warner there at the moment.
So, this is a question that you asked before. Let's have a look at what our team is for this next test match. How do we kind of approach this as a group?
We're making this call as if
I'm the selector. Yep.
Yeah,
You're the selector.
Because let's face it, the selection tomorrow will be unchanged team apart from Hazelwood will come in for bowling.
That's right.
I think I'm almost certain of that.
Yep.
But okay, if I had my choice, I'd drop Boland, I'd drop Murphy, and I'd drop Warner. I would move Marsh to opener. I'd bring in Green, and I would bring in Nessa. Oh, sorry. Well, yeah, I'd bring in Hazelwood.
With an eye of strengthening our batting.
I would probably actually bring in Nessa over Cameron Green. And the reason I say that...
So, just sorry, who's your bowling attack? Stark, Cummins, Nessa.
Cummins, Hazelwood.
Yep.
Nessa.
Marsh. And Green.
No, Green not in.
Okay,
Nessa's in.
Right.
And the reason I say that is I think Nessa's form with the bat is... Like, to me, he's a bowling all-rounder. He's not a batting all-rounder.
Yep.
But Cameron Green's batting over there has been average, to say the least. And I don't think Nessa will go any worse in that regard. But Nessa is a genuine bowler. And to have that, genuine fourth-string quick that can move the ball in English conditions.
He's kind of our Wokes, isn't he?
Yeah, he is like that. But I think, he's sharp as well. So... You get that extra option, and then look, we would have to use Head as a spinner, but if Cummins hasn't got the confidence in Murphy, there's no point bringing in a specialist spinner that hasn't got much batting ability if we're only going to bowl him, even at say 15, 20 overs for the whole match.
Yeah.
Why? You might as well bring in someone that can bat, can bowl a lot more overs for us.
It's a really good point you make. If he's not going to back him, why play him? So in the last test with Warner batting 7 balls across the entire match and Murphy bowling 5 overs across the entire match, we effectively played with 9 players. And then Boland has proved ineffective in these conditions. So we were effectively with 8 players in that team.
Yeah.
And we still nearly won it.
And we still, I would like to see Murphy play because I think it brings better balance to our side. But if he's not going to back him, then I agree. Just make the change. And the other thing, I agree with you. Cameron Green will play a lot of Test cricket for Australia, but he's just not in great touch at the moment. I think, and we talked about this a while ago, you might remember, his preparation was playing in an IPL. And has it worked out? I don't think so.
Yeah, it's but then
but then he's going to chase $3 million for six weeks in a tournament like that. I understand that. But
I wouldn't do that.
If he goes and builds his career and plays county cricket and those sorts of things, in 4 years' time, he'll be a dominant part of our batting lineup. But I don't think he needs to play these last 2 Test matches. So
and that side that I've named, that's got Cummins batting at 10.
It's nuts, isn't it?
You know, and the thing is that they're preparing batting wickets. We are up 2-1.
Yep.
If we bat for 3.5, 4 days of this Test match with rain around or what have you, the series is out.
And your bowling attack is still you've got a lot of volume in that bowling attack still. It's not like you necessarily need a spinner to give someone a break. You're going to be struggling to find overs for everyone.
Yeah.
With that bowling
That's
attack.
what I agree. Like Mitch Marsh bowled quite well.
Well, he was our only bowler that actually swung the ball. Most of our bowlers get a bit of seam off the deck, but he swung the ball through the air.
How was the the full circle of Mitch Marsh, the interview? What was it in Australia when he scored?
No, so that was after the Lord's Oval Test match of last Ashes series.
Right.
He got a 5 in the first innings and then did that thing where he said, most of Australia probably hates me or something like that. Yeah,
that endeared you to him back then.
Yeah.
But to come back around and score a fantastic Ashes 100.
It was a great innings.
Yeah.
It was brutal. And at the other end, every batsman was struggling. And meanwhile, if it was in his area full, he smacked it. And if it was short, he put it in the stands.
How good would it have been? Was it Bali where Sean Marsh was?
Yeah.
How good would it have been in that pub that night? Like just sort of a table near him and sort of just slipping in amongst the crew. Would have been, I have a lot more respect for Sean Marsh after that video.
But, I think all of us would have been very critical of Mitch Marsh in the past and his selection in the team, but you can't not love the bloke, right?
He seems very genuine.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah, I like him.
And I think that's what they say. He's a good bloke to have around.
Bloke,
he's like the footballer who never played.
So I think in going back to the question I've asked, I'm happy that Marsh plays and Cameron Green doesn't.
Right. Okay.
I don't want Warner in the team. I just think we have to pick our best.
Can I say one more thing about Marsh? He's the most comfortable player in the Australian team for bowling, playing short pitch bowling.
Yeah.
It was inevitable. Woods sending down rockets at his head, and he's just like, bring that on.
Yeah.
Like he was just salivating around that sort of. No one else in our team took those conditions and relished them, but he did. And for us, if we have a team that no one is super comfortable with those conditions, then they can just stick to those tactics, which suck because it's really tough to watch. It's grinding. I don't know. It makes me feel frustrated just talking about it. But having him there, it made me feel excited. I was like, man, keep bowling him. Yeah, keep bowling. This guy's gonna. He doesn't even care that they're on the boundary. He's like, I'm putting them past them or over them. So I just feel like having someone in the team that can play those conditions and those tactics is a real big plus for us.
Yeah.
So, we're poised at the moment. It's 2-1. Where do we see the series going from here? Are you predicting 2 more wins to Australia? Is there a draw in there? Do you think there's a loss? How does this play out from here?
4-1 Australia.
Right.
No, it'll be 3-1. No, 4-1, yes. There can still be 2 more results. 4-1, yeah.
Okay.
If we play to our potential, we'll win the next 2 Test matches.
Yep.
Yeah, that's my opinion.
I'm saying 5-0, but...
I think it'll be 3-2.
Righto.
I think we'll win this test, and then we're going to get super drunk for a week. And then, England will have pride to play for home crowd, and they'll win at the Oval. But I think we will win this test. I think the selection will make us a stronger team, even with Warner and that in it. I think the bowling attack will be more balanced in some regard.
Particularly with Josh Hazlewood in the side.
And I don't think we can bat as badly as we did in that test as a team.
Something simple that, Moeen Ali bowls rubbish, but treat him with some respect and don't try and belt him out of the tack all the time because our 2 best bats are getting out.
101, isn't it?
Well, yeah. We can play the long game. I don't know. I just looked at Smith. and maybe the break's been good for him. It was his 100th Test match. There's been a big build-up after Lords. He looked tired. He looked agitated.
Are we getting caught up in Bazball a little bit, where
Not really.
we're accelerating the game a little bit faster than we'd like to otherwise? With Smith Smith and Labuschagne in particular.
At isolated moments, I think you might be right. I think Usman's shown that we can completely ignore that.
Well, he's shown that he can completely ignore that. But
I do think at times
Smith showed he could ignore it in that other test.
He did, and
And Warner hasn't shown yet whether he can do
that shot that he got out with in the second innings wasn't him trying to play Bazball. It was just a lazy, tired, ordinary shot where he's just played a nothing little flick off his pads to mid-wicket. That's yuck. That's a 100 Test player.
That's yuck. I like that.
When I said earlier how I feel uncomfortable about Carlton playing well, me seeing Smith play that shot and get out makes me feel like he's going to get 100 in this next test because he's going to have all his focus back to going, okay, these guys are not, I'm not giving my wicket away like that ever again.
Yeah.
He's got to be the weirdest bloke or what, Steve Smith. You look at him and just go, this guy's odd.
Labuschagne,
number 2. Is that what makes him so good? There's this element of strangeness to him? Or
I don't know.
Usman, Marnus, Smith, just bat time. We set 450, we win the game. It's plain and simple. That's all it comes down to is we have to bat time.
And Matty would know, so lock it in.
Yes, lock it in.
You got a house? Put it on this. 4-1. Quickly, we're just going to run through the tipping for the Ashes at this stage. So, wickets-wise, Stuart Broad on 16. So I said he hasn't been bowling particularly, what I more meant, he's not as damaging as he has been in the past, but he's still picked up 16 poles. Cummins 15 and Stark 13 and Lyon on 9. So
we're still
in it. So I think he's 4th at the moment.
Come on, Gaz.
Yes, I think he's looking good. I don't know if he's making a miracle recovery.
He's in Sydney.
Yeah, Broad, Cummins, Stark and Lyon. Who'd you pick? Okay, moving on. Run scorers. So we've got our man Uzi on 356. Stokes without I guess he did have 150. Oh, is that 155 he scored? Which was the bulk of it. 309.
And an 80 as well.
Yeah. So he's had 2 really good innings, but that's cricket. And Head on 266. So Head's been pretty consistent with those kind of 50 and over scores, really, hasn't he?
You were pretty boisterous about Root after the first test.
Well, why wouldn't I be? Yeah. He was leading the tally. I don't think he was after the test. I think he was after the first innings.
He'd be up that count if it wasn't for Stokes' declaration. I think he would have made
I think he might be on 265, just behind Head, I'd imagine. I'd have to think. I haven't looked into that just yet. But moving on from the cricket, any other thoughts about that? How good's cricket?
How good's cricket? Yeah. Well done to the Australian women's side. They just reclaimed the Ashes with a very close.
Tonight is the last game of it. So we've retained them, but we'd like
on this point system. So
and once again, they will lose that game because they would have been drinking last 2 nights.
But we won the Test match. Then I think we lost the T20 series 2-1 and then lost the first one-dayer. So they had
the one-dayers and the T20s the same points?
They're worth the same amount of points. Okay, I think it's 2 points or something like that.
Right, okay.
It was England were definitely with all the momentum. But Australia, so I don't know if you've seen any of the highlights. Georgia Wareham smacked 27 off the last over to set, so that meant we made 290 or something like that, and then we win the game by 3 runs. So that was definitely the difference.
Amazing,
and Jess Jonathan bowled the last over, pressure on to defend, and as she always does, she did a really good job.
And hasn't Elise Perry? Didn't she break a record?
It's amazing.
First cricketer that scored X amount of runs and X amount of wickets.
I think it was 6,000 runs and 300 wickets. Yeah,
in international cricket.
And then wasn't it something she also batted
350 run
partnerships or something?
Yeah, first time in her career that's ever happened. Yeah. So she's pretty amazing. As far as sporting heroes in Australia.
Yeah.
Quickly running over some of the results that have finished up in the Sports Whisperer as well. So I think 2 weekends ago we missed a week here, Potty. I don't think there's too much on that we really wanted to talk about. The Adelaide Thunderbirds, they are go, and they took home the Super Netball Championship against the Suzuki Swifts, which is a great result for those who tipped. The Thunderbirds. You results. Your team came third, loser. You gloating about Cummins. Oh, please, come
Look,
on.
I'm happy to get any points. So that's a win.
Well, that's not locked in at all for Cummins. So, and we're still in the hunt with Lion. Remember that. Are we tipping the same people a lot? What's going on here?
Did you pick Thunderbirds?
Of course I did. I like the thing. You know, the Wimbledon. I sound like the most amateur person in the world. The Wimbledon finished. Watch any of that?
I didn't get to watch much of it, but I mean, it's pretty awesome how
the escape.
Future versus Novak, the Joker. I don't know if the Joker pulled out any injury.
I don't know either.
I don't think he did, and that could have really cost him on this one because
he was very. I read an article the next day after the win about it. He was pretty heavy with his praise for the escape as well. So it's good to see. You know, at least he had some level of humbleness. Yeah. The article that I read mentioned that he was pretty cocky in the lead up to it. Like, and you know, I guess the question was put to him. You know, do you think you're favourite? And he said, "Well, yeah, I am." And
well, at least his shoe company now doesn't have to. Alter the number 23 on his shoes.
Oh, right.
They can bring out all the spare ones for him to wear.
I thought that was a thing to do with Warney or something like that, the 23. No.
Major titles. So I thought that was pretty cool that, you know, Wimbledon's probably the most prestigious tennis event in the world. And for this, the heir to be, I guess, to come out. Because I think he smashed, was it Rune that was in the...
Casper Ruud?
Oh, no, sorry. He beat Medvedev, but I think he beat, in my mind, in the quarters, and they were touted as, you know, they're the two new, princes of tennis, and he smashed him in straight sets and then knocked out Medvedev. No one likes Medvedev.
I love Medvedev. I'm a big Medvedev man.
And then to beat Novak, so... And then in the women's...
So let's just run through that quickly as far as who picked what. So not us personally.
Yeah, so 11 tipsters picked Alcaraz. So
it was so close, wasn't
one from getting double points. So 10 points there. Novak, 92.
Yep.
So, you know, almost half the tipsters. 6, yeah. That's...
I'll take 6 points, thank you.
Matt Sheep Scambry.
Yeah. Oh, that is the animal name we're looking for out there.
Yeah, I'll tell the boys tomorrow.
I'll take my 6 points and your insults, thank you.
And then Yannick Sinner and Medvedev, obviously losing.
Yeah.
6 points as well. But those 6 points are better than Novak's.
They do. There's a little asterisk next to them, isn't there?
I'll put the asterisk in.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do.
Yeah. It does make me feel better. It does. It does.
Same. Except you picked Medvedev.
Yeah, well, that takes a little shine off it, doesn't it?
Actually, there was only 2 of us that picked Sinner too. I'm really dirty.
Yeah.
Who was Brad Searle too.
Was it?
Find him and get him.
I know. I'm like scroll.
Brad, you know, early on we had some friends of the pod. Enemy of the pod. Brad, come on.
No one's an enemy of the pod.
That would have been 9 points, Brad.
Yeah. Give him 3 of yours. He needs them.
And then in the women's, so I don't know, Matty, you cross the women's tennis much? Because the winner was the first ever unseeded player to win a major, I think, ever.
Wow.
What?
It was something like that I read the other day.
Holy
the first unseeded to win a major title.
I wish you mentioned this before and we could look it up because that's a big story.
Jump on your phone because mine's up there.
Live.
Google.com.
But anyway, while he's looking that up, so Ons Jabeur, who I picked in the last one, but I didn't do the...
changed it up for this
the
one.
Sheep's double down.
Yep.
Came second.
Triple down, thank you.
Triple down. She came second, but 12 people had her, so no double points there. 6 points. Then Svitolina, which I think she was the one... She the Ukrainian or... She was the one that won't shake hands with the Russians and the Belarusians.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Because of the war. And no one had her.
Right.
Semi-finalist. So it was an interesting story with that because I think it was Azarenka, Victoria Azarenka, lost to her, and Azarenka already knew that she wouldn't shake her hand, so she basically just waved to her and walked off, and the crowd booed her.
Oh.
But like she said, she had nothing against her. She just knew she didn't want to make it awkward by going up to shake hands, and yet she was the one that was victimised. Well, the winner was the victim, I guess, and I feel for Azarenka because what was she meant to do?
That is unfair
situation. And then Sabalenka, which was quite a lot, I think second most tipped with 30 tipsters, so 3 points there.
So hang on a minute, just peeling back here. We've got this unseeded person,
yes,
and we've got IGA, who we call the
Sweartech,
we call the supermarket, and this person's name is Marketa.
Yep.
She's the supermarketa and the supermarket. This is crazy. This is something going on here. This is wild. And she's, the first unseeded player,
Wimbledon.
in the professional era to win the women's Wimbledon singles title.
Wow. Congratulations.
Pretty cool.
Yes. From us to you, supermarketa. We love you. We love your work.
I'll pick you next tournament
in the US.
Please don't do that to her. She just had a big win. Don't drag her down with you.
She'll get first round knockout.
She'll miss the qualifying or something like that.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay, he's had enough.
By the way, to everyone listening, I haven't updated the points. It's happening. Unfortunately, I've been hooked into Assassin's Creed, and but I promise I will sit it down over the week.
Getting into e-games or something like that for next year.
Yeah. So I will update that and send it out to all the participants.
All right, we've got a few tips to give and a few tips coming up as well for the punters in addition to, and also as well.
So these tips are due tomorrow night as we're recording.
That is right.
Both of them are due tomorrow.
Both due tomorrow
So when you hear this, which will probably be tomorrow,
get your tips in.
Get your tips in ASAP.
Yeah.
And you'll probably want to listen to mine
and if you listen after Wednesday, sorry you missed.
Suck eggs.
Don't pick my tip.
The Women's World Cup. This is kind of going to be pretty exciting. The kids from school were saying some of their friends are going down to watch it, and they were asking, can they watch it? And I said, no, we don't watch soccer in this household. Of course we'll watch it. It sounds fun. The Women's World Cup, a 32-team format this year, which is the first year it's been that way for the women's, I believe.
Yes.
Okay. So what do we got? What are we talking about here? Soccer.
Well, we have to pick just the outright winner.
Okay.
One tip, outright winner.
Right. Okay.
And
well, first, before we tip the outright winner, it may be your selection, but how do you guys think Australia will go?
All right.
I'm excited.
I've got no idea.
I think it's a pretty exciting opportunity that we're a co-host of the tournament. I hope we go deep just to create some interest in the Australian sporting media, I suppose.
Yep.
Certainly something to jump behind. There seem to be a likeable side and very talented as well.
Quite often you get a little bit of a boost from being the home team as well, don't you?
What's there? I mean, are they going to win it? Well, it'd be great to see that, but it does look like it's going to be a bit of a challenge. But I'd love to see them go deep into the finals.
We are we're not let's say a genuine chance, but we're a chance. You know, we're within the top kind of 10 teams.
Well, maybe even the top 4 or 6 teams,
right,
really.
Okay,
so,
what are we ranked? 10th in the world?
Yeah, I don't
9th
know.
or 10th.
So, okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess I'm hopeful that they make it into that sort of set quarters semi sort of area, and then who knows from there.
You can't underestimate a home crowd.
Yeah.
It changes everything.
Well, so they
Like
played
when you're out there playing and you hear people go Aussie, 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 or you're like, oh yeah, I am Aussie.
So they played.
I'm going to score.
They played a friendly game, a warm-up game on Friday night at Marvel in Melbourne.
That's the problem, no friendly games.
That's a 1-0 win, but there was 55,000 people there
Against
for
whom?
France, who are one of the good sides, and they scored a goal, and the crowd went absolutely nuts.
But the French are pretty tired from watching the Tour de France.
Okay.
I hope no one tipped them.
Exactly. Well, let's jump into it. Who are we tipping?
You go
We'll go first.
You go first.
All right.
Yes.
So the team I've picked, they're currently ranked 3 in the world.
Okay.
They've got a pretty easy group, along with South Africa, Italy, and Argentina. So I think they're a good chance of getting through to the round of 16. Their first round games are all based in New Zealand, which really suits them because the climate's pretty similar. I looked up the weather, and currently it's 13 degrees over there. It's about 16 in New Zealand, so I like that for a vibe. They made it to the UEFA Women's Championship semi-final, so a bit of big game experience in that group. I'm going with Sweden.
Sweden. Oh, okay.
All right.
And because it's a family-friendly podcast, I can't give my actual real thoughts about why. Yeah.
Well, I had it pinned down to two sides, but the more investigation I went into the Spain side, I don't know if you guys know much in the background, but there's been a lot of off-field issues and I think in the end they've had
related or
who knows? There could be this team's got plenty. Yeah, they're wild. And anyway, they had a revolt against their coach. In the last 12 months, and they sent an email to say, no, we're not playing for our national team unless things change. The coach is dismissed because it's having an effect on our mental health. And
give us an example.
Well, that's all I could read into it. It didn't go into the detail why this was happening, but 15 of the squad, including their superstar, Alexia Putellas. She's just known, she's similar like Prince. It's just Alexia. Anyway, their French association just went, no, we're not worrying about what you girls say. If you don't want to play, you're out.
Yep.
And in the end, 8 of those 15 aren't playing. This Alexia is back, but she only just got back from injury on the 12th of July. So who knows? But she's a superstar. Yeah, one of the best in the comp. So
are you tipping them? Or?
No, I'm not tipping them. But I did have them right up until I was like, maybe I should still, because they're.
I think you should. I think you should tip them.
Oh, no.
Who's your other option?
England.
Oh, you're kidding? Come on.
He can't say come on when he's picked
about him. Tip the Spanish. Now, come on.
The reason I'm picking England is the Hulsh curse.
You're doing a favour for everyone else.
Exactly. Right. So if I pick England, they can't win the comp. It's excellent for everybody involved.
Hang on. What about the Spanish? They seem already cursed. You might double curse, double negative.
The reverse curse.
The reverse curse.
Okay.
The reverse curse, everyone.
Okay, I'll go Spain.
Yeah. Spain. Nice. Who are you going?
So I've just changed my tip 3 times in that last little monologue. So I had, and here it's written, England.
That is true.
On the basis that they just won the Euros last year.
And you always play it safe and go for the favourite.
No, the favourite is USA, clearly. They've won the last 2 World Cups in a row. But yes, definitely second favourite. And if I was going to change my tip, I would have picked Spain on the basis that so their Barcelona side won the UEFA Champions Women's League this year, and a lot of those players are in the Spanish side. And I went, well, that's what I'll go to. So
that's why I went Spain.
When Hulsh went England, I went immediately, I'm picking Spain, and then he flicked back to Spain. So guess what? I'm staying with England.
Right, okay. Not interesting at all. That's boring.
And I admire the amount of research that both of you have done, by the way. Well done.
I'm pretty proud of myself too.
I just went, the Euro winners.
I'm actually really looking forward to this tournament.
Me too. No. It's on at a good time. I love sport at a good time. Yeah. It's one of the best things in the world.
Except the nights that the Ashes
Sam Kerr is a superstar, and I hope she has a big tournament. Not to put pressure on her, I just would love to see it, because
I think she'll thrive.
Yeah.
Sam Kerr, we love you, friend of the pod. Brian, less so.
No, Brad.
And Brian as well.
Brian.
I don't like the name Brian. My name's Ryan. Everyone calls me Brian sometimes. Don't like any Brian. Sorry about that.
Listen here, Rhino. Everyone's a friend.
Rhino. All right. Things got a bit silly, but let's get sensible.
What's next?
Let's go with the US, the Open Championship of Golf, the British Open, if you will call it that. It's at Royal Liverpool.
Royal Liverpool.
Hollyoake, they call it. Yes. So I did a little bit of research into this as well. So the last time the Open was held there, the winner was Rory McIlroy.
Nice. McIlroy.
Yeah.
Who's in good touch at the moment as well.
He is in good touch. He was in good touch back then in 2014.
And not much in between.
No, but regardless.
He nearly pulled off the US Open, didn't he?
Yeah. Had a bad run at the end there. Doesn't count.
So there's a bit of...
You ain't first.
That's a bit of history for you. Cam Smith, obviously the winner last year.
Yep.
How are we looking this year? I went first this time. You went last. You went first this time.
So if either of you have tipped this guy, I'll be very surprised.
Max Homer.
Bet you I've got
It's not
it.
Max Homer. So Max Homer's let me down. I don't think he can handle the windy conditions of
Kenny
over in
Pigman.
Mine's
the UK.
definitely not a favourite. I bet you there's something.
Oh,
Anyway,
you're kidding. Oh, well, I'm going to get in first before
does it
you
start
do.
with D?
No.
Okay.
So on the
start with
basis
B.
of recent form,
Okay.
I'm picking a relatively unknown player by the name of Robert McIntyre.
Right.
Now,
okay.
please tell me either of you haven't picked him. No, good.
That's an
good.
unknown.
My research said
So
no to Bob.
Yeah,
I'm
I was
only,
thinking
I'm
that
only
too.
basing that off recent form in the UK. The last 2 weeks he's finished second, and that's good enough for me. So,
Oh, Bobby McIntyre is doing well.
so he finished second to Rory on the weekend, and he also finished second the weekend
I
before.
picked Jason Day on form too.
Robert McIntyre.
Yeah,
there you go.
okay. Well, I got nothing
heard
to
it
say
here
about
first.
him because that's
Don't know
just
who he is.
No, that's a nothing name.
I have
like
a bad
mine.
feeling by Saturday morning.
Not like mine, mate. Good name.
By
for
Saturday
me.
morning, it'll be the little group message that shows him below the cut.
So I'll go next then.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to go DJ, Dustin Johnson.
Okay.
Okay. Isn't he an AFL player?
Oh dear. So
Dustin
Dustin
Hoffman.
Johnson, obviously, he plays live golf now. Was number one on the PGA for a while there, not so long ago, I guess. He had a top 10 finish at the US Open, and his form in the last couple of tournaments, he's had back-to-back top 10 finishes as well. Class player, love the name. Just feel like, he's that type of guy that can produce enough.
What was the name? I've genuinely forgotten.
Dustin
already.
Johnson.
Okay, that's not that great.
It's no.
Nothing like my name that I've picked.
All right.
Here we go.
So you haven't gone Scotty.
I'm not revealing nothing to you just
here we
yet.
go.
All right.
I was just going to take the headphones off for a little bit and have to hit listen
Well, you
to
listen to me say
Scotty.
about 25 times and live in my own world. My guy, he tied 5th in the US Open. Bit of form. He recently had a win in the Rocket Mortgage Classic in a playoff against Colin Morikawa.
Where was that?
And somewhere, Rocket must be. The town is Rocket, suburbs Mortgage, maybe, I don't know. He was only 2 strokes off the win in 2014 at this course, so he's got some form, albeit, yeah, I get it, it was 9 years ago, but you carry that form over. I think his name is cool. It's not Scotty Scheffler. It's Ricky Fowler. It's got a similar kind of timber to it. It's
no Dustin Johnson. But
well, his middle name is Yutaka.
okay,
I
you
like
win.
that. Yeah, I think so.
you got it.
He's got a Japanese grandfather, and that's who he was named after. So, Ricky Fowler.
Okay.
Scotty Scheffler. I'm still going for Scotty Scheffler.
Okay.
Obviously. I still want Scotty to win, but I'm going.
To be fair, Scotty
So-
Scheffler's
He did play
the
well
most
on the
consistent.
weekend, just couldn't putt. If he finds his putter, he's going to be very tough to beat, I think.
Are we talking about Scotty?
Scotty.
Okay. All right. That covers our tips, so take them on board if you like yelling
Don't
names.
pick Robert McIntyre, please.
But
I want
consider
triple
the
points.
reverse curse.
Movies. We're getting to the pointy end. Now, we had a lot of interest in this poll, Tony. So there is a clear winner, though. Take it away.
So yes, I forget what pool we're up to, pool F or something.
Yeah. It's the second. I think there's 2 more.
2 to
after
go.
this until we get to-
So my boy Woody Harrelson and Kingpin snuck home.
That was on the basis of you just putting in multiple tips.
Yeah, I put in 44% the tips. So yeah, 44% Kingpin, Mystery Alaska, which I haven't seen, 33%, which makes me think I should give it a spin, and A League of Their Own with Madonna, 22%, Eddie the Eagle, nunza.
Ooh.
None percent.
No.
That's our first
Right.
0.
Is it?
I think so.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
you might be right.
There you go. Well, I looked into the sporting prowess of the people in these movies. Mate, pretty thin, I've got to tell you. But there is
So it was last
There
week.
is a clear winner on this one. So I'll kind of fold this over so you don't look at it as I'm going because it is kind of a big reveal. So we're going to start with number 5. We've got Tom Hanks. Okay, he's a big sports fan. He sold popcorn and peanuts as a teenager at the Oakland Coliseum, sort of baseball ground. So he was in amongst the action. You know, they're throwing the peanuts. There's a bit of something there. So he's at 5. This was interesting, and I want to find out more about this. Russell Crowe, who's in one of them. I can't remember which one.
Eddie the Eagle.
Eddie the Eagle. Now, I looked this up. I found this fact, and I went, I want to find more about this, and I couldn't find anything. Apparently, he played in a G'day, I'm an American now, G'day USA T20 match in 2008 against and with the likes of Steve Waugh, Mike Whitney, Rod Stewart, Mick Jagger, Robbie Williams, Daniel Radcliffe in this like England versus Australia celebrity match or something like that. And I thought, what was the score? Who scored runs? I want to know about this. I couldn't find anything about it. It's like there was a press release for it, and then that was it. Like, no photos of it. I'm like, surely there's got to be something out there about this. If anyone knows,
on Facebook, there's a Facebook group called Australian Cricket Scores and something, and it's excellent. Like, everything they put up is really valid reading. I'll message them and see if they can get us some info on G'day USA.
I like it because I want to find out about that. That sounds really interesting. Even just to see some pictures. I want to see like Mick Jagger, celebrating a wicket or something. Just like your girl Alexia, someone with one name, Madonna. She received a dance scholarship at the University of Michigan.
Ooh.
So she was in another one of the movies, obviously.
That was 3.
That was number 3.
Oh, so there's 2 better than that.
Well, she's the first one who's actually done anything. Like Russell Crowe played in a cricket game. That doesn't mean anything. Now, Gina Davis, who is in A League of Their Own, she's the catcher in it.
Yep.
This is another wild one, actually. She placed 24th out of 28 semi-finalists for the Olympic archery team, so for America. So she didn't make it there. In 1999 for the 2000 Olympics. Wow. So she was she wasn't 4 places away. She came quite low, but she was in the running to go to the 2000 Olympics. So it was, I read a bit more about this one. Very interesting. She had acted in all of these movies where she'd done a lot of physical stuff, and then she got interested at the 96 Olympics watching the archery and went, I'm going to throw myself into it, and then just went full ball, practiced 5 hours a day, 7 days a week, and then got to a stage where she was good enough to be attempting to qualify for the Olympics.
That is
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, Hugh Jackman, which movie was he in?
Eddie the Eagle?
No.
I
think it's
Mystery Alaska.
Yeah.
Sure, whatever.
Yeah.
Taron Egerton or something was the other person.
No. Oh, well, yeah, that's Eddie the Eagle.
Okay, whatever.
Yep.
Hugh Jackman, he comes in at number 1.
Okay.
Because, he's got dance, he's got a bit of physicality to him. But he hit Shane Warne for 20 in the nets at the cricket one time. That's there was Tubby Taylor.
I remember watching
He
that.
was scoring or whatever. But yeah, he got 20. Hit him, pumped him for 6 off the last ball. That's pretty impressive. Taking Warney down for 20.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman.
Well done, Hugh.
He goes through.
He goes through.
Now, Hosh, are you going to put up the next 2?
I'm going to put the next 2 up in one.
Because we've missed a week there.
Yeah. So Pool G is Bull Durham, which is a baseball movie with Kevin Costner.
Never heard of it.
I think it's an 80s movie. Run, Fat Boy, Run.
Never heard
Never heard
Are you serious? No. It's about marathon running, and it's... who's the main actor in the Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead?
Pegg.
Yeah, Simon Pegg's the lead actor in it. It's worth a watch.
Okay.
Kicking and Screaming.
Will Ferrell.
And Football.
Yes.
And then, I haven't heard this one, but The Water Boy.
Waterboy. That sounds boring.
American football. So that's Pool G.
Do we even run that one?
Yeah. Look, I'll put a couple in for Run, Fat Boy, Run. Pool H. So first one, semi-pro.
Okay.
Will Ferrell, basketball.
I remember somewhat liking that.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I thought it was it was probably one of his more underrated, whereas some of his others are a bit overrated. So Wimbledon.
Okay.
Tennis.
The Wimbledon.
The Natural, baseball,
what's
which
that?
is
Never
Robert
heard of it.
Redford. It's an 80s movie as well. and the Big Lebowski 10-pin bowling, which
is a Coen Brothers comedy.
exactly. Exactly. So we've had some altercations about whether this is a comedy. No, you.
He's looking at you, right?
And so before the episode, we looked it up, and it's a definite comedy.
Wonderful. All right. Well, that brings us to the conclusion of another episode of the Pints Sportcast. I had a good time. Have you had a good time?
I had a great
Did you
time.
have a good time? Yeah.
So what do we got for the next week? Let's watch the cricket. Come on,
do-
Australia!
yes.
Win the 4th Test.
Yes.
Watch the Tour de France that finishes off this week.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
So that'll be exciting. The two winners are very close. So that's Pogacar and Jonas Vingegaard.
Yep.
Women's World Cup
Fish and
kicks
chips
off.
with
Women's
Pauline.
World Cup.
Yep.
So we've got plenty of sport in the next week.
Carlton going for 5 straight.
And of
Yep.
course, let's follow our golf tips. So
Yes.
yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
Jeez, well, this is
big week
great.
of sport. I don't think I'm going to be
looking
sleeping
forward
too
You
much.
see how I said she's?
Yeah.
That's what you mean.
Yeah, I got a new saying for the end, I think. All right. As always, keep tipping, keep drinking, and keep your language to a minimum. Thanks, guys.
Good night.
Cheers.